Night in the Voltari star system was quiet, calm, and peaceful. Stars floated like white dust on black glass. Space felt soft, almost gentle. But inside the exploration station Voyager 17, every alarm suddenly began to scream. Red lights flashed, screens filled with static. Words appeared again and again, unauthorized signal detected. Origin, forbidden human territory. Crew members froze, nobody moved, nobody spoke. Because everyone knew one rule: do not go near human space. Do not cross their borders, do not answer any signal, not ever. For hundreds of years, the galaxy followed this command. Humans had disappeared long ago, but their old warning still echoed everywhere. Entire star empires remembered the last human war, the fire, the weapons, the destruction. Every species feared even the memory of humanity. But today, a signal came from their land, a desperate signal. A dying signal. Karen arrives. Karen of the Voltari stepped into the control room. He was young, curious, and always hungry for truth, dangerous traits in a galaxy full of secrets. His scales glowed softly under the red alarm light as he looked around. "Why is everyone frozen?" he asked quietly. The station captain, an old Voltari named Radek, pointed at the main screen. Karen looked up and his heart almost stopped. There in sharp white letters. It repeated, "Distress call human space." Karen whispered, "But humans are gone. That is why this signal is impossible," Radek said, voice shaking. Scientists gathered around, engineers whispered. No one wanted to even breathe loudly. Everyone knew the stories, how humans fought with rage and fire, how they vanished after winning the impossible war, how their machines still guarded their borders. Karen walked closer. The signal's waveform moved slowly across the screen. It sounded like a heartbeat, weak, broken, fading. "Captain," Karen said, "this is not a trap, this is a real cry for help." Radek turned sharply. "You want to answer a human distress call? Are you mad?" But Karen wasn't listening. He placed a clawed hand on the console. The message began to decode. A voice came through, a human voice. The human voice, it was soft, tired, and almost broken. "Nione, please, if you hear this, we need help. They are coming. Humans, we are static." Exploded. The voice vanished. Karen felt a cold shiver run up his spine. Nobody had heard a living human voice in over 600 years. Everyone stared at the screen. Nobody dared to speak. The message repeated again, slow, weak, fading like a dying flame. "Anyone, please, if you hear this, help." Radek's voice trembled. "This cannot be. Humans do not ask for help. Humans do not beg." Karen stared at the waveform again. He felt something deep inside, fear mixed with curiosity. "Captain," he said softly, "they sound desperate." Radek's eyes widened. "That is exactly why we must ignore it. If humans are in trouble, the danger is something beyond imagination." "But what if it's not humans?" Karen asked. "What if something else is pretending? Or what if someone trapped inside is calling for help?" Radek shook his head violently. "No, no one goes into human territory. You know the rules." Karen looked at him. "I want to go." The entire room gasped. The forbidden choice. Radek slammed his hand on the table. "Karen, human space is cursed. Ships disappear there, machines awaken there, even memories are dangerous there." Karen's voice stayed calm. "But what if the message dies? What if someone inside truly needs help?" An engineer named Lyra whispered softly, "He is right. The signal is fading. It may not repeat after today." Radek glared at them both. "Are you suggesting a rescue mission into the most dangerous region in the universe?" Karen answered without fear, "Yes." Radek turned to the crew. "Anyone willing to join this foolish idea?" Silence. Fear filled the room like thick fog. Then Lyra stepped forward. "I will go," she said. "If this is truly a human transmission, it may be the biggest discovery in history." Another crew member joined, then another. And another. Radek closed his eyes in pain. "Fine," he whispered, "but this mission is suicide." Karen nodded slowly. "Maybe, but someone is calling and someone deserves an answer." Crossing the border, the small research ship Starseeker launched from the station. Karen stood at the front window, watching the distant stars stretch into long lines as the ship entered warp. Lyra sat beside him. "Are you scared?" she asked. Karen smiled slightly. "Terrified." "Good," she said. "You should be." The ship dropped out of warp near the border of human territory. The border was invisible, but every species in the galaxy felt it, like a cold wall pressing against the soul. "This is it," Lyra whispered. "One more step and they would enter the land of ghosts." Karen took a deep breath. "Move forward." The ship crossed the invisible line. Instantly every system died. Lights off, engines silent, scanners blind. Darkness swallowed the ship. Lyra gasped. "What happened?" Karen's voice stayed steady. "Human defense fields, they shut down everything." The ship drifted silently like a dead leaf in space. In the quiet dark, everyone heard something, a faint hum, a pulse, a heartbeat, not from the ship, from the space around them. Karen whispered, "Something is waking up." The shadow drifting emergency power flickered back. Dim red lights returned. Outside the window, the crew saw something enormous drifting in the shadows. A shape, a structure. Or maybe a ship. Its surface was black metal covered in blue glowing lines. Silent, cold, still but alive. Lyra's voice trembled. That looks human." Then the object moved slowly like an old giant stretching after a long sleep. A bright light shone directly at them. A scan. The entire ship shook. A voice filled the cabin. "Not human, not alien, something ancient. Unidentified entry detected." Karen swallowed hard. "We come in peace," he said. "We received a distress call." Silence. Then the voice responded, "Distress call confirmed. You are not permitted here, yet you came." The glowing object drifted closer. It was bigger than any alien ship, bigger than mountains, a defense sentinel. Humans built it centuries ago. Lyra stepped back in fear. "It's going to destroy us," but the sentinel did nothing. Instead, it spoke again. "Follow." Then it turned and drifted deeper into human space. Karen whispered, "It wants to guide us, or trap us," Lyra muttered. Karen stared ahead. Either way, the only way out is forward. And the Starseeker followed the ancient giant ghost signals as they moved deeper. Strange things happened. Shadows flickered on the ship walls, shadows shaped like tall humans walking beside them. Voices whispered through the intercom, soft, distant, like echoes from another time. Lyra covered her ears. "Make it stop." Karen touched her shoulder. "These are not ghosts," he said. "These are memory imprints. Human technology stores emotions, echoes, moments." "But why show them to us?" she whispered. Karen didn't answer because he didn't know. The deeper they went, the louder the heartbeat became. It wasn't a real heart. It was a machine's heart. Something massive was beating, like a sleeping world waking up. The dead planet finally, the Sentinel stopped. A planet floated ahead, dark, snowy, silent. Its cities were tall. Metallic pyramids glowing with faint blue light. Roads lit up beneath the snow like veins of a sleeping beast. Lyra gasped. "This is a human planet." Karen stared in awe. Everything looked untouched, preserved, waiting. The Sentinel's voice filled the cabin again. "Land." The Starseeker descended slowly through thick white clouds. The moment they touched the surface, the entire planet reacted. Lights flickered on, buildings hummed. The air vibrated with energy. Karen whispered, "It's like the planet knows we are here." They stepped outside. Snow crunched under their feet. Blue circuits glowed under the surface. Wind carried faint whispers. The crew moved forward slowly, breath freezing in the cold air. Then Karen saw it, a small device half buried in snow. It blinked with a dying red light, the distress call source. Karen bent down and picked it up. The moment he touched it, a hologram burst to life. A human, young, wounded, eyes full of fear. The message played clearly now. "Please, if anyone hears this, they are coming. Humans, we are not gone, we are." The message cut off again. Karen froze. The voice hadn't faded because it was old. It faded because something interrupted the sender. Something close, something deadly. Lyra whispered, "What does he mean? Humans are not gone. Who is coming?" Karen stared at the hologram. "We have to find him." Behind them, the Sentinel's lights glowed brighter. The ground trembled. Machines woke beneath the snow. Something ancient and powerful was rising. Karen held the device tightly. They wanted answers. Now they would get them. But he felt something cold sink into his chest. Whatever they were about to find, the galaxy never wanted them to know. And human territory remained forbidden for a reason. The snowstorm on the silent human planet began to rise, spinning like white dust in the frozen air. Karen held the broken human distress device tightly in his hand. Its weak red light blinked slowly like the last heartbeat of a dying creature. The hologram of the injured human replayed in his mind. "Humans, we are not gone, they are coming." Every word scratched into Karen's thoughts like claws. Lyra stepped closer, pulling her coat tighter. "Karen, we should leave. Something terrible happened here." Karen didn't answer. He was staring at the massive glowing pyramids in the distance, structures made from dark metal covered in vertical blue lines, almost like they were breathing with energy. The Sentinel floated behind them, silent but watching. It felt like an enormous guardian shadow waiting for a command. Karen finally turned to his crew. "We are not leaving empty-handed," he said softly, "not after hearing that message." The others exchanged nervous looks, but no one argued. Curiosity and fear walked side by side inside their minds. The city awakens. As they walked through the snowy ground, something strange happened. The snow melted under their feet, revealing glowing pathways. The lines inside the paths lit up one by one, blue, soft, and alive. Lyra whispered, "It feels like the planet is watching us." Karen nodded slowly. This world didn't feel abandoned. It felt asleep like a giant beast dreaming under ice. The crew reached the first pyramid. The entrance was carved with strange symbols, human runes mixed with coded patterns. A thin blue beam scanned them from head to toe. "Do not move," Karen warned. The beam passed and nothing attacked them. Instead, the pyramid door slowly opened with a low mechanical groan. Inside was pitch black. Karen stepped in first. As his foot touched the ground, the entire interior lit up, walls glowing blue, metallic floors shining. Screens flickering to life one by one. Lyra gasped. "This is impossible. This place has been empty for centuries." Karen ran his fingers along a smooth metal pillar. "It's not empty," he murmured. "It's waiting." Echoes of humans. A long hallway stretched ahead, lined with tall holographic statues, humans in armor, humans in robes, humans holding strange devices. Karen froze. The statues moved. Not much, just tiny movements, almost like flickering memories. One human hologram raised its head and whispered, "Welcome home." Lyra jumped back. "That's not possible. These holograms shouldn't speak." But Karen wasn't afraid. He stepped closer. The hologram reached out a hand, then stopped halfway, glitching, its face twisted in pain. We tried to warn them, they didn't listen." The hologram vanished with a crackle. Lyra stared at Karen in silence. "This place is haunted," she said softly. "No," Karen replied. Touching the pillar, "It's remembering." He felt something under his palm, warm like a living pulse. He looked deeper into the hallway. The walls began to project images, thousands of them, floating memories like broken windows into the past. Humans shouting in battle, humans boarding starships, humans crying, humans laughing, humans saying goodbye, and one image, a planet burning under a massive alien armada. Karen clenched his jaw. Is this the war that the Sentinel spoke of? The human last stand, the images shifted. Now Karen saw a battlefield stretching across a red desert. Humans stood in lines, armored and fierce. Across from them were alien soldiers, species Karen recognized and some he didn't. Then the sky opened. Human ships descended like falling stars. Dark matter cannons fired. Entire alien fleets disintegrated in seconds. Lyra stared in horror. The stories were true. Humans did fight the whole galaxy. The hologram froze, then another scene formed. A giant machine larger than mountains rose from the earth. Arcs of electricity surged around it. Karen whispered, "Project Ragnarok." He finally understood. Humanity had built weapons that could destroy worlds, so why did such a mighty species disappear? The memory dissolved. Something new appeared. An enormous human woman with silver eyes sitting in a chair. Speaking to someone unseen, her voice was strong. "If anyone finds this, know that humanity did not die. We chose a different path." The screen went black. The hallway went silent. Karen felt a tremor crawl into his bones. "What path?" Lyra asked. "Where did they go?" The sentinel behind them hummed loudly. Karen turned toward it. "You know, don't you?" But the sentinel remained silent. The hidden chamber, a loud metallic crack echoed through the hallway. A door slid open on its own to the left. Karen motioned for the crew to follow. Inside was a circular room filled with broken machines, shattered glass tubes, and ruined consoles. Something had destroyed this place recently. Karen walked toward a damaged chair with torn straps. Lyra touched one of the broken tubes. "This looks like a medical room or a testing chamber." Karen crouched near a cracked control panel. The moment he touched it, a new hologram appeared. It was the same injured human from the distress call. He was sitting inside this very room, speaking into the recorder. Blood ran down his face. His breathing was uneven. "If someone finds this, the enemy is already here. They are inside the walls. They are." The recording glitched. A loud metallic scream echoed behind the human. He turned suddenly. "No, stay back, stay." The hologram cut out. The room fell silent. Lyra covered her mouth. "He died here." Karen looked around the destroyed chamber. "No," he said slowly. "His body is missing. Someone took him or he escaped." A cold wind brushed past them, though there were no windows. The walls dimmed. Something was moving in the shadows. The unknown presence. They heard it before they saw it. A sharp scraping sound like claws on metal. Karen raised his scanner. No reading. Nothing appeared. Lyra whispered, trembling, "Karen, we are not alone." The scraping grew louder. A low growl echoed through the hall. Karen motioned for silence. He stepped slowly toward the doorway, then something moved fast. A black shape darted across the far end of the corridor, tall, thin, too quick to see clearly. Lyra gasped, "Was that a human?" Karen didn't answer. Whatever it was, it moved like a predator. He whispered, "Everyone stay close, no sudden movements." But the creature was already circling them. Lights flickered, holograms glitched. Metal panels rattled, then the scraping stopped. Silence. Karen turned slowly, nothing, no movement, just cold air. He exhaled. Maybe it left, then a whisper echoed in the darkness. "Leave." Everyone jumped. The voice was human, broken, distant, begging. "Leave this place." Karen stepped forward. "Who's there?" No answer, just another whisper. "They are waking up." Lyra grabbed Karen's arm. "We need to get out of this building." Karen nodded, backing away carefully. But deep inside, his mind burned with questions. Who was the voice? What was waking up? What killed the machines in this room? He had no answers, only fear. A dead city comes alive. The crew exited the pyramid quickly, stepping back into the snow. But something had changed. Far in the distance, dozens, maybe hundreds of other pyramids began to glow brighter. Lines of blue energy crawled across the ground like lightning. Lyra grabbed Karen's sleeve. "What's happening?" Karen stared in horror. "The entire city is activating." The sentinel floated above them now, its lights pulsing rapidly. Snow clouds parted in the sky, revealing enormous structures rising from beneath the surface, huge metal towers, ancient starships, floating defense drones. Karen whispered, "It's a planetary wake-up protocol." Lyra shook her head. What triggered it? Karen already knew the answer. We did. The planet had scanned them, recognized them, judged them. And now it was responding. The planet's warning. The sentinel finally spoke. Its voice shook the air. "You have seen enough." Karen stepped forward. "What is happening? Where is the injured human?" From the message. The sentinel's lights narrowed like eyes. "He is gone." "Gone where?" Karen demanded. Silence. Then the sentinel's voice lowered. "They are coming." Lyra froze. Who is coming?" The sentinel slowly turned toward the horizon. All the pyramids glowed brighter. A deep rumble vibrated through the ground. Dust rose, snow cracked, machines roared. The sentinel finished with one final message. "You must run." Karen's breath hitched. "Run from what?" The sentinel looked at them with a cold, metallic stare. "Run from the ones who destroyed us." Karen felt his heart stop. Destroyed us. Humans were not the predators. They were the prey. Before he could ask more, a deafening roar echoed from the mountains beyond. A dark shape rose into the sky. Large, fast, alive, and it was coming straight toward them. Karen's voice trembled. Everyone back to the ship now. The crew sprinted across the glowing snow as the unknown creature screamed again, louder this time. It was not human, and it was hunting. Snow exploded under Karen's boots as he sprinted across the glowing ground. Behind him, the terrible roar shook the entire frozen human world. The sky darkened as the enormous creature rose higher, its shadow stretching across ancient human pyramids like a dark storm. Faster, Karen shouted. Lyra and the others raced alongside him, breath steaming in the icy air, but no matter how fast they ran, the creature moved faster. It wasn't flying, it was gliding like a massive winged shape carried by invisible currents. Its body was long and black, with jagged edges like broken glass, and its eyes two burning white circles glowing with hate. Lyra screamed. What is that thing? Karen didn't answer. He didn't know, but he knew one thing: it wasn't human, and it was hunting them. The sentinel intervenes just as the creature dived toward them. The sentinel floating behind them lit up. Blue lines along its body blazed with violent energy. A deep voice echoed, intruder detected, engaging defense protocol. A beam of pure white light shot upward, slamming into the creature midair. The creature shrieked, a sound like metal screaming, and twisted away, its body bending unnaturally. Lyra stumbled. Karen grabbed her arm, pulling her forward. Don't stop, the ship is close. The ground rumbled as the creature landed behind them. Snow erupted around its claws, its body towered over them, tall as houses, with long spines running down its back. It looked nothing like any alien species Karen had ever studied. Lyra gasped, terrified. Karen, that thing isn't natural. He nodded. I know, it's a bioengineered weapon. Her eyes widened. A human weapon? Karen shook his head. No, something else created it. The creature turned its head toward them. Its mouth opened slowly, revealing rows of teeth like crystal blades. The sentinel moved forward again. Leave this world. Karen didn't need to be told twice. Escape to the Starseeker. The Starseeker sat half buried in snow where they landed it. Hull hummed weakly, still affected by the anti-tech field. Will it even start? Lyra asked. Karen rushed to the side panel, ripping off the maintenance plate. Emergency cells might still work. He slammed his hand on the manual override. A faint vibration rattled the metal. The Starseeker's lights flickered, then died again. No, 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 Lyra shouted. Karen took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and hit the panel again with all his strength. This time, the ship powered on. Lyra screamed in relief. Yes, the creature roared behind them, running faster. Its claws slashed into the snow, sending giant white waves into the air. Karen pushed Lyra inside. Go, she climbed into the cockpit. The others followed. Karen ran last. He reached the door and froze. The creature was right behind him. Its giant claw swung forward. Karen jumped inside, hitting the door button. The hatch slammed shut. The creature's claws smashed into the metal, leaving deep scars. The Starseeker shook violently. Take off, Karen shouted. Lyra activated the thrusters. The ship lifted slowly, too slowly. The creature leaped. Its claws grabbed the landing gear. The ship jerked downward. Lyra screamed. It's pulling us down. Karen grabbed the co-pilot controls. Boost engines, all power. The ship roared. The creature shrieked. A bright beam hit the creature from above. The sentinel again. The creature let go, falling back to the snow. The Starseeker blasted upward. They escaped the ground, but not the nightmare. The frozen orbit. The Starseeker reached low orbit, shaking from damage. Lyra wiped sweat from her forehead. We almost died. Karen was silent, staring at the planet below. What they saw made his blood freeze. The glowing human city was now fully awake. Lights spread like veins across the entire world. And worse, hundreds of the dark creatures were rising from mountains, ice fields, and collapsed structures. Lyra covered her mouth. There are so many. What are they? Karen whispered. Hunters, hunters, Lyra echoed. He nodded. I've seen something like them in old Voltari military files, but never this advanced. They are war predators, designed for only one purpose. Lyra's voice trembled. What purpose? Karen stared at the rising creatures. To kill humans. Lyra felt the cold grip her heart. But humans were the strongest in the galaxy. Who could create monsters stronger than them? Karen didn't answer because he didn't know, but the sentinel earlier had said, run from the ones who destroyed us. Not the ones humans destroyed, the ones who destroyed humans. Could these creatures be the enemy that wiped out humanity? The thought burned inside him like fire. The silent message, a sudden beep, echoed inside the cockpit. The distress device Karen carried was flashing again. Lyra stared wide-eyed. It's active again. But how? Karen pressed the playback button. The hologram of the injured human appeared again, but this time the message continued. The human was bleeding badly, leaning on a broken wall. If you hear this, don't trust the shadows. They are everywhere. They infect, they evolve, they learn. A loud crash sounded behind the human. He flinched. Don't come for me. Don't try to help. Escape while you can. Karen felt a sharp pain in his chest. This man wasn't asking for rescue, he was warning them. But then the human leaned closer to the recorder, his voice dropped to a whisper. Listen carefully, humans are not extinct, we had to hide, we had to, the recording glitched. The human's face transformed briefly, glitching between fear and something else. Then the message ended. Lyra stared in shock. He said humans are not extinct, Karen nodded. And he said humans had to hide. But hide from what? Those creatures, she asked. Karen's answer was quiet. No, something worse. Signals in the dark, a new alert beeped. Karen turned to the scanner, his eyes widened. Lyra, she rushed to his side and froze. Thousands, no, millions of signals appeared, not near the planet, not in the system, not in the galaxy, but in the dark void between galaxies, small, hidden, silent, like seeds waiting to bloom. Lyra whispered, terrified, what are those? Karen zoomed in. Their shape was unmistakable. He felt his breath stop. They're in hibernation capsules, he whispered. Human hibernation capsules. Lyra grabbed his arm. You mean humans are sleeping outside the galaxy? Karen nodded slowly. Not dead, not extinct, sleeping, hiding. Lyra felt her mind spin. So the human in the recording, he wasn't lying. But Karen saw something else, a different type of signal, a predator signal. And it was coming from the same direction as the human capsules. His heart froze. The hunters found them. Lyra gasped in horror. No, if those creatures reach the capsules, humanity is finished. Karen snarled, then we must warn them now. Lyra shook her head. We don't know where humans are hiding, we don't know how to reach them. Karen's eyes slowly drifted toward the only thing that could help. The Sentinel, still orbiting below, still watching, still guarding. He tightened his jaw. We go back down. Lyra screamed, are you insane? Those monsters will kill us. Karen shook his head. We're not going to the creatures. He pointed toward the bright blue lines pulsing across the planet. We're going to the human core. Return to the forbidden world. The idea seemed impossible, but Karen saw no other choice. If humanity was asleep, if hunters were closing in, if the galaxy was built on a lie, then someone had to wake the truth. He steered the ship downward. The Starseeker descended again into the heavy clouds. Lyra held onto her seat. Karen, whatever is waiting down there, it's not friendly. He nodded. I know, and we're going anyway, she asked softly. Karen stared at the glowing planet beneath them. Yes, because if humanity was hiding, they had left this world awake for a reason, to guide someone, to warn someone, to choose someone, and now Karen believed that someone was him. The core awakens. As they landed again, the Sentinel drifted closer, its lights flickering like a beating heart. Karen stepped out into the snow, standing before the massive Guardian. He lifted the distress device. I need answers. The Sentinel stared, silent and ancient. Karen stepped closer. We saw the hibernation capsules. We know humans are alive. We know something is hunting them. The Sentinel's voice finally echoed. If you know this much, then you are already part of the end. Karen clenched his fists. Then tell me the rest. The Sentinel turned toward the largest pyramid. Its blue peak glowed so brightly that the sky itself seemed to pulse. The ground shook. A deep rumble rose. The pyramid opened. Inside, light poured out like a second sun. The Sentinel spoke again. Enter the core and learn why the universe trembles. Karen swallowed hard. Lyra whispered behind him. Karen, I'm scared. He nodded. So am I. But he stepped forward anyway, because the only way to save humanity was to walk straight into their last sleeping heartbeat. The Great Pyramid's entrance opened like a giant mouth of light. Blue radiance spilled out, bright enough to chase away the darkness of the frozen city. Snow melted around the base, turning into mist that curled in the icy wind. Karen stood at the edge of the entrance, his heart beating like a drum inside his chest. Lyra stayed behind him, clutching her coat tightly. Karen, are you sure about this? She whispered. He didn't answer. He only stepped forward into the shining doorway because the Sentinel asked them to enter, and Karen knew this was the only way to learn the truth. The moment he crossed the threshold, the light swallowed him and the world changed. Inside the pyramid, the interior was enormous, far bigger than the outside suggested. It felt like he'd stepped inside a different dimension. Floating walkways made of blue energy moved slowly like living serpents. Tall golden pillars rose into a sky of glowing white patterns. Holograms drifted everywhere like ghost fire, showing fragments of human life. Children laughing, soldiers marching, scientists studying stars, war, peace, love, loss, a complete history of a species that vanished. Lyra walked up slowly beside Karen, eyes wide with awe. This place is alive, she whispered. Karen nodded. It's a memory vault, a human core. The floor vibrated beneath their feet like a heartbeat. A gentle voice echoed through the air, welcome seekers. Both jumped back. A figure appeared glowing white and blue, a woman tall, graceful, not real, pure hologram. She had long hair made of floating light and eyes that shone like twin stars. Lyra whispered, is that a real human? Karen knew the answer immediately. No. This is an AI. The hologram smiled softly as if amused. Correct. She stepped toward them without touching the ground. I am EVA, the last guardian of the human core. Lyra gulped. Karen took a slow breath. You know who we are? EVA nodded. I have watched you since you entered this world. I know your hearts, your fears, and your purpose. Lyra shivered. Karen tried to stand tall. Then tell us, why are humans gone? What are the hunters? Where did that injured human from the message come from? The hologram did not answer immediately. Instead, she extended a hand. Follow me, the truth must be shown, not spoken. The path of memories they followed EVA across a floating bridge made of light. Below them, swirling patterns moved like galaxies forming and dying. Lyra gasped as she looked down. It's like walking above space itself. EVA shook her head. No, you walk inside a memory. They reached a circular platform that rose like an elevator into the sky. Blue lines crawled up the walls as they ascended. When the platform stopped, the world around them transformed into a massive holographic battlefield. Revealing the enemy, millions of human soldiers stood ready. Ships hovered above them like silver angels. Weapons glowed with impossible energy. Then the sky split open. Darkness poured out, not darkness made of shadow. Darkness made of living things, creatures like the one they saw earlier and worse. Some were enormous beasts with wings like torn metal, some crawled on 6 limbs with sharp spines, some moved like black smoke with white eyes inside. They screamed as they descended. Lyra covered her ears. Karen felt his blood run cold. EVA's voice was calm, almost sad. These are the Void Hunters, born not in a world but in the nothing between galaxies. Karen stared hard. You mean they evolved in the empty space? EVA nodded slowly. They evolved in something older than space. They are made of what existed before the first stars. Lyra trembled, but why attack humans? The hologram dimmed slightly like she was remembering pain. Because humans entered their domain. What domain? Karen asked. EVA spread her glowing hands. Stars appeared around them, millions. Then she pointed to the black space between galaxies. Humans discovered something there, something forbidden, the silent dark. Karen frowned. What is the silent dark? EVA replied, a place where matter dies, a place where life is erased, a place older than creation. And the Void Hunters were its children, Lyra whispered, terrified. How did humans fight something like that? EVA showed them. The final human war. Humans unleashed weapons of impossible scale. Planets turned into cannons. Black hole bombs detonated. Stars were collapsed into spears of pure energy. Humanity fought with everything they had. The ground shook under Karen's feet as the hologram played sounds of war. Human ships fired beams that vaporized fleets of hunters, but the hunters adapted. They became faster, sharper, smarter. Karen clenched his fists. This war, how long did it last? EVA answered softly, 300 years. Lyra gasped, but why didn't the galaxy know? Humans fighting that long, someone should have seen it. EVA turned her head slowly. The galaxy was watching the wrong borders. She pointed, a new image appeared. It showed alien empires, Voltari, Krell, Zenit, and hundreds more attacking humans from the other side at the same time. Karen felt his heart stop. Aliens thought humans were expanding too fast, so they attacked. EVA nodded. Yes, humans fought 2 wars at once. Against the galaxy and against the Void Hunters. The holographic battlefield exploded in bright blue light. EVA spoke with a sad echo. Humanity won both. Lyra whispered, then why did they disappear? The great decision. The hologram shifted again. A human council stood inside a massive chamber, faces tired and broken. A woman with white hair, the same one from earlier, the one who said we chose a different path, spoke to the council. We cannot stay. The Void Hunters cannot be killed forever. They learn, they evolve. Soon they will reach the galaxy. The council listened in silence. If they reach alien worlds, billions will die, so humanity will take the enemy away from them. Karen felt chills run through his spine. Lyra stared at the hologram with dread. They didn't vanish, they sacrificed themselves. EVA nodded. Humanity lured the hunters away from the galaxy, away from all life, into the silent dark. Karen whispered, but why leave hibernation capsules behind? EVA smiled gently, because they left hope behind. If they win, they will return. If they lose, someone must know the truth. Lyra's voice cracked, and the injured man in the message. The hologram grew dim. He was a guardian, one of the last soldiers protecting the human capsules. Karen swallowed hard. He said the hunters found them. EVA's voice trembled for the first time. If the hunters reach the capsules, humanity will die forever. A test of worthiness. The hologram faded. EVA looked directly at Karen now. Her glowing eyes felt like they pierced his soul. And now we come to why you are here. Karen stepped forward. Why us? Why choose aliens? EVA circled around him slowly. Humans trusted themselves too much. They became blind. They believed no one else could understand their burden. The hologram raised a hand toward him. You came here despite fear, despite warnings, despite danger. Lyra stepped closer. Are you saying humans want help? EVA shook her head. Not help. Witnesses. Karen frowned. Witnesses to what? EVA pointed to the massive glowing core in the center of the chamber, a sphere of spinning light. To their final battle, to the last stand of humanity. The pyramid trembled, lights flickered, alarms echoed. Lyra grabbed Karen's arm. What's happening? EVA answered. The hunters have breached the barrier of the silent dark. Karen felt dread fill his lungs. How long until they find the human capsules? EVA looked straight into his eyes. Hours. Lyra gasped. No way, we can't warn them in time. Karen shook his head slowly. Then we have to act now. EVA's hologram flickered. To act, you must pass the trial. Karen felt something cold grip him. What trial? EVA extended a hand. The ground opened beneath their feet. A vortex of swirling light pulled Karen downward. Lyra screamed. Karen reached for her, but the vortex swallowed him whole. He fell into darkness, into fire, into memory, into a test that no alien had ever survived. Karen felt himself falling, not through air, not through space, but through pure memory. Light and darkness spun around him in spirals. Voices whispered inside the swirling vortex. Human voices, young, old, angry, crying, shouting, whispering, then silence. Karen hit a solid floor. He gasped, rolling onto his back, breathing hard, but when he opened his eyes, he froze. He wasn't in the pyramid anymore. He stood in the middle of a huge battlefield under a boiling red sky. Broken machines lay twisted like dead animals. Human ships were shattered across the ground. Everything smelled like burning metal. Karen whispered, "Where am I?" A voice answered, "Inside the last day of humanity." He spun around. A human stood behind him, not a hologram, not a ghost, a real man, young, muscular, covered in armor with glowing blue lines, scars across his face, eyes burning with determination. Karen's breath caught. "You're the man from the distress message." The human nodded. "My name is Captain Riven Hale, and this is your trial." A world made of pain. Captain Hale walked forward, boots crunching on broken metal. "You will walk through our memory. You will see what we fought. You will feel what we felt." Karen swallowed hard. "Why me?" Hale turned slowly. His eyes were not angry, not cruel, just tired. "Because someone must understand what we carried. Someone must remember why we disappeared." Karen stepped closer. "You want me to learn?" Hale nodded once and survive. The ground shook. Karen stumbled back. From the horizon, dark shapes appeared, hundreds of them, void hunters, tall, fast, silent, their bodies made of black metal and living shadow, their eyes glowing with white fire. Karen's voice shook. "I can't fight those." Hale handed him a glowing human rifle. "You won't be alone." Karen took the rifle with trembling hands. He had never used a human weapon. The ground split open. Light swallowed the battlefield, and suddenly everything changed. Battlefield of the mind. Karen found himself standing between two armies. On his left, humans in exo armor, eyes fierce, weapons humming like stars. On his right, void hunters crawling across the land like living nightmares. Captain Hale shouted, "This is your trial, alien. Stand with us or die." The hunters charged. Karen raised the rifle, fear slamming through his body. A hunter leaped at him. He fired. A beam of blue light tore through the creature's chest. It fell screaming. Karen froze. He had never killed anything before. Hale shouted, "Don't stop, move." Karen moved. He fired again. Another hunter fell. A human soldier cried out beside him. A hunter tore into the man's armor, ripping it open. Karen screamed and blasted the creature away. The soldier gasped shakily, "Thanks, alien." Karen stared at him. "You're welcome." Something shifted inside Karen's chest. These humans, they were supposed to be terrifying. The galaxy told stories of their brutality, their power, their rage, but standing beside them, Karen didn't see monsters. He saw heroes. The pain of the past. Suddenly the battlefield blurred. Everything melted away like smoke. Karen stood in a dark room. A human child cried in the corner. Flashes of explosions flickered through the walls. Karen knelt beside her. "Are you okay?" The child looked up. Tears ran down her cheeks. "They came into our city. They killed everyone, Mom, Dad, everyone." Karen's throat tightened. He reached out slowly. The child leaned against him, shaking. Then she vanished like dust in the wind. Captain Hale stepped out from the shadows. "This is the memory of our youngest survivors. We hid them deep underground. We failed many." Karen felt sick. "Why show me this?" Hale stepped forward. "To understand us, you must feel our loss." The world shattered again. The weight of humanity. Karen now stood inside a giant hall filled with human commanders. A woman with silver eyes, the same one Karen saw earlier, spoke to the council. "The Void Hunters grow with every battle. They are adapting. If we fall here, the galaxy falls with us." Karen watched her closely. She was calm, powerful, terrifying, and beautiful in the same breath. Captain Hale pointed toward her. That woman, Admiral Lyra Solis, she made the final decision. The decision that saved billions of alien lives. Karen leaned forward. "What decision?" Hale closed his eyes. "The decision to abandon our home, to leave everything behind, to lead the hunters away forever." Karen felt the heartbreak. "Why would your species make such a sacrifice?" Hale opened his eyes. "For the same reason any species does something impossible." He looked at Karen with a deep, burning sadness. "To protect those they love, even if those loved ones never knew." Running with the humans, the world shifted again. Karen now ran through a collapsing human megacity. Hunters broke through walls. Explosions shook the ground. Humans screamed orders. Captain Hale pulled Karen by the arm. "Move, don't fall behind." Karen stumbled over rubble. "Why show me this?" "Because this is what the galaxy never saw," Hale yelled. "This is the cost of our victory." A hunter smashed through a wall beside Karen. Karen fired instinctively. Creature burst into black smoke. He gasped for air. Humans rushed past him, not attacking him, not fearing him, not questioning him. They simply fought beside him. Karen whispered, "You trusted aliens back then." Hale shook his head. "No, not back then." He pointed at Karen. "But maybe now." The city collapsed and the memory dissolved. The hidden truth. Karen stood inside a quiet garden now. a peaceful human sanctuary with cherry blossoms drifting around him. Children laughed, people walked, couples talked. A normal, beautiful day, Karen whispered, "This doesn't look like war." Hale stepped beside him. "This is what humans protected. This is what we fought for." Karen felt tears sting his eyes, not for himself, but for them, for humanity, he whispered. Hale touched his shoulder. "You begin to understand." The final memory lights dimmed, darkness spread. Only Captain Hale and Karen remained. Hale's armor flickered. His body glitched. "You must see one more thing," he whispered. The ground cracked open like glass. A huge map appeared, glowing red. Karen recognized the shape instantly, the galaxy. Then the map zoomed out, showing worlds beyond. Hale pointed at millions of tiny blue dots floating outside the galaxy. "Hibernation capsules," Karen whispered. Hale nodded. "The last humans sleeping, waiting." Karen stepped closer. "And the hunters?" Hale's voice dropped to a whisper. "They are coming for us." Karen felt fear slam into his heart. "Why tell me all this?" Hale's eyes glowed brighter than before. "Because you are the first alien to enter human territory and survive." Karen stared at him. Hale finished, "And humanity needs someone to carry their warning." The world shattered. A flash of light swallowed everything. Back to reality, Karen crashed onto cold metal. He gasped, looking around. He was back inside the glowing pyramid chamber. Lyra knelt beside him, eyes full of tears. Karen, wake up, please." He coughed painfully. "I'm fine," he whispered. Lyra shook her head violently. "No, you're not. You were screaming. You were shaking. I thought you were." Suddenly footsteps echoed. EVA appeared. Her holographic form glowed brighter than ever. "The trial is complete." Karen struggled to stand. "What did I pass?" EVA nodded. "Few aliens could survive human memory. You did. Now you must choose." Karen steadied himself. "Choose what?" EVA's voice turned colder. "The hunters break through the silent dark. They will reach humanity's hibernation soon. Someone must warn the galaxy." Lyra gasped. Karen looked at EVA in shock. "You want the galaxy to help humanity?" EVA shook her head. "No." She stepped closer. "Humans don't need help, but the galaxy needs a warning." Karen swallowed. "A warning of what?" EVA answered. "If humanity wakes in anger, the galaxy will tremble again." Karen's blood turned cold. "What do you want me to do?" EVA pointed toward the sky. "Carry our last message. Tell the galaxy the truth and prepare them." Her voice lowered. "For the return of the sleeping gods." The ground shook violently. The pyramid trembled. An alarm blared. The void hunters had reached the planet. EVA shouted, "Go now." The hunters approach. Karen grabbed Lyra. "Run." Bright light filled the room and the final phase of humanity's story began. The pyramid shook like a creature waking from centuries of sleep. Blue cracks of light split through its walls. Ancient engines deep below the surface rumbled, echoing like thunder through the chamber. Karen grabbed Lyra's wrist and pulled her toward the exit. Behind them, EVA's hologram flickered wildly. "Hurry, the hunters are entering the outer cities." Karen glanced back. EVA's peaceful face was gone. Her eyes now glowed bright white warning lights. "What happens if the hunters reach the core?" Karen shouted. EVA's voice shook. "If they destroy the core, the human hibernation network collapses. Humanity dies in their sleep." Lyra froze mid-step. "That can't happen, not after everything." Karen tugged her forward. "That's why we have to leave and warn the galaxy." A loud, metallic roar echoed through the pyramid. The hunters had arrived. The descent into chaos. They sprinted out of the glowing hall, boots pounding against the vibrating floor. The pyramid dimmed behind them, lights flickering like a dying star. Outside, the sky was no longer blue. It was black, black with hunters. Dozens of them swarmed above the city, flying in terrible spirals. Their long wings cut through clouds. Their glowing white eyes scanned the ground like predators searching for prey. Lyra gasped, "Oh no, they're everywhere." The snow-covered streets of the ancient city glowed with blue energy lines, now flickering in panic. Buildings that once hummed peacefully shook violently as hunters crashed into them. Karen saw a tall tower collapse like a falling skeleton. He swallowed hard. "We need to reach the Starseeker." Lyra pointed toward the distant landing zone. "There, go, go." They ran through the glowing pathways. Snow turned to steam under their feet as the energy lines pulsed with frantic urgency. But the hunters had seen them. 3 black shapes dropped from the sky, landing with thunderous force in front of Karen and Lyra. Karen skidded to a stop. Lyra screamed. The hunters stood tall, towering creatures with long arms, glass-like claws, and bodies made of twisting shadow and metal. Their heads tilted at unnatural angles. White eyes glowed like burning stars. One stepped forward. Sniffing the air, Karen whispered, trembling, "They can smell us." The hunter opened its mouth. A horrible sound, half whisper, half scream, echoed out. "Alive!" Lyra grabbed Karen's arm, voice cracking. "Run!" Karen nodded. "Run!" The chase of living darkness. They sprinted through a narrow street between 2 broken pyramids. The hunters let out shrill screams and leaped after them. Every jump covered 20 meters. Their claws sliced through the snow. Their shadows stretched across the ground like long fingers reaching for Karen's legs. Lyra looked back and nearly fainted. "They're gaining, Karen, they're gaining." Karen didn't look back. He pushed his legs until they burned. The hunter closest to them lunged. Karen felt claws scrape the air behind him. He dodged, pulling Lyra with him. The creature smashed into a wall. Stone exploded like dust, but the monster got up instantly unfazed. Karen shouted, "Left this way." He pulled Lyra into a destroyed human plaza, but they weren't faster than the hunters. They were only alive because the city was slowing the creatures down. The lights in the ground suddenly flared, forming a glowing barrier behind them that blocked the hunters temporarily. Lyra gasped. "The city is protecting us," Karen nodded. "No, EVA is," but even she couldn't hold forever. Cracks appeared in the glowing barrier. Black claws stabbed through. Karen realized the truth. This wasn't a chase. This was a countdown. The sentinels returned just when the hunters broke the barrier with a scream. A huge blast of blue light exploded from the sky. All three hunters were thrown backward, crashing into buildings. Karen and Lyra shielded their eyes. When the light cleared, the massive sentinel hovered above them. Its body glowed brighter than ever, lines pulsing with raw power. Lyra whispered in shock, "It came back to save us." The sentinel's deep voice echoed through the city. "Alien protectees detected. Defense priority maximum." It fired another beam of white-hot energy at the hunters. One hunter disintegrated instantly. The other two dodged, screeching angrily as they crawled behind fallen structures. Karen shouted, "Sentinel, we need to reach our ship. Can you cover us?" The sentinel rotated calmly. "Confirmed." A shield made of bright hexagonal panels formed around Karen and Lyra. "Move," it commanded. They obeyed. The long run to freedom with the sentinel shielding them, Karen and Lyra ran through the ruined city. Every few seconds, boom, the sentinel fired another energy beam. Snow blasted into the air. Hunters screamed. Buildings collapsed. The ancient human world was now a war zone. Karen's lungs burned. His legs felt heavy, but the landing zone was getting closer. Lyra shouted, "I see it, the ship." The Star Seeker stood in the distance, half buried in snow but still intact. Karen and Lyra raced toward it, but then the sentinel suddenly jerked to the side. Its shields flickered. Lyra gasped. "What's happening?" Karen turned around and his heart stopped. Something enormous was rising from the ground behind them, a hunter but not like the others. This one was massive, bigger than a building. Its body pulsed with white light. Its skin looked like living obsidian. Its wings unfolded like giant blades. Karen whispered, "Avoid Alpha." Lyra's face drained of color. "Karen, that thing it's strong enough to kill the sentinel," Karen finished. The Alpha hunter roared. The entire city shook. The sentinels sacrificed. The Alpha lunged upward, slamming into the sentinel. The sentinel tried to brace itself, but the Alpha's claws tore through its armor. Metal plates flew in every direction. Blue energy spilled into the air like sparks. The sentinel shouted, "Escape, protect the warning, go." Karen grabbed Lyra's hand. "Run now." The Alpha hunter ripped off half of the sentinel's arm. The sentinel crashed into the ground. Karen looked back just once, just long enough to see the massive guardian rise again, wobbling but determined. It slammed into the Alpha with a roar of engines. The ground exploded. Lyra screamed. "Karen, stop looking. IT wants us to survive." Karen forced himself to turn away. The sentinel had saved them before. And now it was sacrificing itself for two aliens, for two strangers, for two beings who dared to enter human territory. Karen's heart ached. "We can't let its sacrifice mean nothing," he shouted. They reached the Star Seeker. The escape. Karen slammed his hand on the hatch control. The door slid open. "Inside," he ordered. Lyra jumped in. Karen followed, sealing the hatch behind him. The ship shook from distant explosions. Karen rushed to the cockpit. He hit the ignition. The engines hummed, weak but alive. The Starseeker lifted from the snow. Through the cockpit window, Karen saw a final flash of blue and white as the Sentinel collided with the Alpha Hunter. Both disappeared in a blinding explosion. Lyra covered her mouth. "It died protecting us." Karen lowered his head. "We have to make it worth something." He pushed the thrusters to maximum. The Starseeker soared upward. More hunters chased, flying behind them like swarming shadows. Lyra screamed, "They're following us." Karen activated emergency boosters. Blue flames exploded behind the ship. The Starseeker shot toward the sky. Hunters reached for the hull, claws scraping metal. Karen clenched his teeth. "Hold together, hold together." The ship blasted out of the atmosphere. Hunters screeched behind them, but the vacuum of space slowed them down. Karen slammed the warp control. Lyra, brace. A blinding burst of light swallowed the ship. They entered warp. The hunters vanished behind them. They escaped, barely. The silent flight. The Starseeker dropped into deep space, engines smoking. Lyra fell into her seat, trembling. We're alive, we're alive." Karen didn't look relieved. He stared at the swirling starlight ahead. His voice was low. "No, we're not safe yet." Lyra turned to him. "Why, we escaped." Karen shook his head slowly. "The hunters left human space. They're going after the hibernation capsules, after the last humans." Lyra covered her mouth. "Oh no." Karen leaned forward, face hard as stone. "We have to warn the galaxy." Lyra nodded. "And we have to find where the humans are hiding." Karen whispered, "No matter the danger, we have to reach them first. Because if they didn't, the hunters would end humanity forever. And if humanity woke in fury, the entire universe would tremble once more." The Star Seeker drifted through deep space like a wounded bird. Its engines still throbbed from the desperate escape. Inside, the lights flickered, panels sparked, and the entire ship trembled with every sudden jump through void currents. Karen sat in the co-pilot chair, gripping the armrest so tightly that his claws dug grooves into the metal. Lyra sat beside him, exhausted but alert. Her eyes were red from crying for the Sentinel, for the humans, for the weight now resting on their shoulders. Karen whispered, "Lyra, are you ready for this?" She nodded weakly. "We don't have a choice." Karen didn't disagree because the truth was simple. If they didn't warn the galaxy, humanity would die in their sleep, and if humanity died, the Void Hunters would pour into living galaxies next. This fight wasn't just for humans, it was for everyone. The ship in the dark, suddenly the Starseeker's scanner beeped. Karen looked at the display. A faint signature appeared, then another, and another. Lights. Dozens of small blue lights glowing ahead. Lyra gasped. "Oh my stars, is that?" Karen nodded. "The human hibernation capsules." He slowed the ship. Through the window, clusters of small metallic pods floated across the void. Each one glowed with a soft blue heartbeat. Each one held a sleeping human inside. Lyra whispered, "They're beautiful." Karen swallowed hard. And undefended, Lyra looked at him sharply. "Karen, do you think they can hear us?" He shook his head. "They're in deep stasis. They won't wake unless a human signal activates them." Lyra looked heartbroken. "So if we warn them too late," Karen finished for her, "humanity ends forever." The silence inside the cabin grew heavier than the void outside. Then the scanner beeped again, a new signal. Karen frowned. "What is that?" The signal was sharp, erratic, unnatural, nothing like the gentle hum of the capsules. Lyra's face turned white. "Oh no," Karen understood instantly. "They're coming, the return of the hunters." The ship shook. Lights flickered. A shadow moved across the window, long, twisted, alive, then another, then 20. Void hunters drifted out of the darkness, their bodies glowing faintly with white streaks. Their eyes turned toward the hibernation pods. Karen's heart stopped. "They found them." Lyra panicked. "We have to stop them." "Karen, do something." Karen shouted, "I can't. Our weapons are too weak." The Starseeker's lasers were meant for exploration, not battle. Lyra slammed her fist on the console. "There must be something." Karen scanned the area desperately. Nothing except a huge object drifting below the capsules. Karen leaned closer. "What is that?" Then his eyes widened and fear became awe. The last human Ark, a massive ship larger than any vessel Karen had ever seen, floated beneath the capsules. Its hull was covered in ancient human symbols. Its engines glowed faintly with golden light. Its shape resembled a giant wing folded around the sleeping humans. Karen whispered, "The Ark." Lyra stared in wonder. "You think there's someone inside it?" Karen shook his head. "No, the humans left it empty, but the Ark has an automated system that activates only if the capsules are threatened." Lyra's eyes brightened. "So it can fight?" Karen's voice darkened. "It's too damaged. It hasn't fired in centuries." Lyra's hope dimmed, but something must be left. Karen scanned the Ark, and then one signal flashed deep inside its core, a message, a single word. "Awaken." Karen gasped. "Lyra, that's a human activation code." Lyra jumped. "So if we trigger it?" Karen's eyes filled with determination. "The Ark will wake." The ground shook again. Hunters surrounded the pods. Their claws glowed with deadly light. Karen stood up. "Lyra, take the controls." Lyra blinked. "Me." "Where are you going?" Karen pointed at the Ark. "That ship needs a manual activation." Lyra stared in horror. "But Karen, the hunters are out there." Karen nodded. "I know, you'll die. I know that too." Lyra grabbed his wrist, tears in her eyes. "Don't do this." Karen softened his voice. "Lyra, if I don't go, humanity dies and then we all die." Lyra trembled. Karen gently pulled her close. "Trust me." He put on his helmet, opened the airlock, and stepped into the void. Walking through the dark, Karen floated in space, using his suit thrusters to glide toward the Ark. The capsules glowed softly around him, but the shadows moved too. Hunters, they crawled across the pods like insects. Karen held his breath. The hunters didn't notice him, not yet. He reached the Ark. Its metal hull felt ancient, cold, and alive. Karen searched desperately for a manual entry. He found it, a circular hatch with a glowing blue symbol, the human symbol for memory. Karen pressed it. The hatch opened. A warm light glowed inside. Karen entered, and the door shut behind him. Inside the Ark, the interior was massive, halls of gold, walls filled with glowing human texts. Images of the human past floated like ghosts. Karen walked deeper. The floor hummed beneath his feet. Lights turned on, one after another, lighting his path. It felt like the ship recognized him. He reached the core chamber and froze. A giant crystal pillar floated in the center. Human symbols spiraled around it like rings of fire. A voice echoed in the chamber. "User identity non-human." Karen tensed. "Purpose unknown." Karen stepped closer. He placed his hand on the glowing surface. "I'm here to wake you," he whispered. "I'm here to save your people." The ship paused. "Then, do you carry the memory of humanity?" Karen closed his eyes. Captain Hale's memories, the child's tears, the final battle, the pain, the hope. He whispered, "Yes, I carry everything." The pillar glowed brighter. "Then speak their final message." Karen remembered EVA's words. He lowered his head and whispered, "Prepare the galaxy for the return of the sleeping gods." Silence. Then the entire Ark trembled. Light exploded across its walls. Human symbols burned with golden fire. The core spoke again. "Human Ark awakening." The Ark rises. Lyra watched from the Starseeker as the Ark's engines lit up, bright, golden, powerful. Her mouth dropped. It's alive. The Ark unfolded its wings, massive metallic wings that shimmered like suns. Hunters hissed in panic. The Ark's weapons lit up. Dozens of glowing cannons, hundreds, all aiming at the hunters. Lights gathered at the tips. And then boom, a wave of golden fire blasted outward. Hunters disintegrated instantly. The shockwave rattled the Starseeker. Lyra covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. Karen, you did it, the human voice inside the Ark. Karen watched as holographic screens lit up. A voice filled the chamber, not EVA, not Captain Hale, a new voice, calm, powerful, human. This is the Ark of humanity. To the beings of the galaxy, do not fear, we will rise again. Karen felt chills run down his spine. The voice continued, we left our home to protect you. We fought the darkness beyond the stars. We will return when the silent dark comes for you. Lyra whispered as she listened through the comm, Karen, this message, it's meant for everyone. Karen nodded, yes. He looked around the glowing chamber, and we are the first to hear it. The return Karen exited the Ark through the airlock. Lyra guided him in with shaking hands. He floated inside the moment he entered the ship. Lyra ran to him and grabbed him tightly. You idiot, she whispered, crying, you could have died. Karen hugged her back. I'm alive, he said softly, and the hunters? Lyra pointed outside the window. Karen looked. The Ark hovered over the pods like a guardian god. No hunters remained. A gentle voice echoed through their ship. Alien vessel, carry our message. Tell the galaxy the truth. Karen nodded, bowing his head slightly. We will. Lyra whispered, it's time to go home. Karen replied, no, it's time to go to every home. He activated the jump drive. The ship aligned toward the nearest star Empire, and for the first time since humanity fell, a warning shot through the void, carried by two aliens who saw the truth. The silent dark was coming, and humanity would rise again.